Hey, just breathe.
Hetepu. I haven't had a conversation with you in a while, and the reason being that I've been wrapped up in writing a love letter to whom it may concern with regards to Tehuti. It is my understanding that out of all the Neteru, the main Neter that we need to focus on is Tehuti. Some sages have said that. One has said it's Pitar, and another has said it's Oser. However, I know that it is Tehuti. Why Tehuti? Tehuti is wisdom itself. Tehuti is time and timing itself. In order to have victory, understanding and perspective in anything that you do in life, you need Tehuti by your side. And I am speaking from a group perspective, not only from an individualistic perspective. As an African, I will always speak first in the context of the village, because the village, the community is where it starts as an African, then the individual. That is what Ma'at stands for. That is what Ubuntu stands for. And that is the modus operandi of an African. And those also that are spiritual. Because we cannot claim that being a spiritual being is only the remit of African people. Now, in order to defeat any enemy as a group of people, or even from an individual perspective, it is Tehuti that will help you. We've seen it in our stories, or rather, our ancient sages have taught us, you and me. We've seen it in a couple of stories where, in order for the righteous to defeat the chaotic, Tehuti comes and intervenes and helps the righteous and helps the spiritual. Another Neter which comes close would have been Oset. Because remember, in our spiritual story, it is Oset who awakens the Neter, the great Neter Oser, and pieces him together when he was chopped into 14 pieces by Set, the Setian beings. It was Oset who pieced together her husband, and then, through a dream, conceived Heru, the chosen one, the son, to then defeat Set. For Heru to defeat Set, he needed the help of Tehuti. As who we are, having been under attack for 2,500 years, since 333 AD, The neter that obviously had to be looked at was Oset. But now it is Tehuti. It is Tehuti that is the focal point. So you can argue either or. However, Tehuti is the master neter in terms of wisdom. And it is Tehuti who represents the infinite intelligence. And it is with this perspective that I'm saying Tehuti, both from a village perspective and also from an individual perspective, Tehuti is the neter that needs to be revered, that needs to guide one from a becoming Heru perspective, and also from the village perspective in order to defeat Set. Obviously, that will take time. From an individual perspective and also from a group perspective, whatever your people are facing, those that are facing chaos, on this planet, because the universe and the planet is spiritual inherently. It has become materialistic from what we have seen, materialistic and both individualistic. What have we put together? We've put together the little book of Tehuti, and it is meant to teach really those who are interested in the truth about who Tehuti is, because there isn't anything. There's thought, there's Chemis Trismegistus, I don't even know what the hell that is. There's the Emerald Tablet, what the hell is that? There's all sorts of nonsense about Tehuti, lies, fabrications. I haven't seen, or rather there isn't anything that speaks to the truth, that focuses on Tehuti and speaks to the truth of who Tehuti is. So the little book of Tehuti does exactly that. Who is Tehuti? Who is Tehuti as the infinite intelligence of nature? The origin story. I've spoken in the previous conversations, touched on the origin story. And also, in some of the conversations that we've had, we've spoken about the nine parts of mankind. What is the purpose of life? Also, I've mentioned that Tehuti is about wisdom and imparting ways in terms of winning over a situation, overcoming a particular challenge that one might have. Also talks about a shrine. How would one set up a shrine of Tehuti? Communing with Tehuti, communing with the infinite intelligence. Daily devotion. What is the right way on a daily basis, because you've heard me speak about the 6 prayers that the people of Kemu, Abase Kemu, would engage in, right? So this covers that. How do you commune with the infinite intelligence, the supreme intelligence, which is Tehuti? And then the essence of Tehuti's wisdom. What is the essence of Tehuti's wisdom? And then 24 principles which cover Tehuti that will allow you to be able to appreciate the wisdom of Tehuti. It is not thought, it is not emerald tablets, it is not Hermes Trismegistus, it is not Moses. All of those characters are characters that are created and stolen from Tehuti. And they're stolen by people who went to Egypt, took that wisdom, and then tried to create a history for themselves, a religion, or faked a spirituality for themselves, and forgot to credit the original people who came up with that wisdom. So again, it's not Moses, it's Tehuti, right? It's not thought, it's not Trismegistus, it's none of that nonsense. This is the original, and it's a neter. It's not a person, it's not a sage, when we depicted Tehuti in our stories, it was a personification. It's drama, because as I've said before, that drama stories are the best way of teaching holistically the right brain, the right side of the brain, which is about truth, which is about synthesis, and then the left side of the brain, which is analytical and more materialistic, and that is what the focus has been the past 2,000, well, not even 2,300, it's past 400 years since the so-called Renaissance. But Tehuti is about the whole, because he represents the infinite intelligence that created the universe. So the little book of Tehuti covers that, covers the essence of who Tehuti is, covers some of the principles that were stolen. And once again, as I keep on saying, credit is when we were in the Nile Valley. Anything that you find here is credit to the sages there. Let's not make the mistake once again of claiming things in terms of, well, I haven't seen actually people and descendants of the continent coming up with fabrications and creating fake characters, to be honest. They credit the source is the Nile Valley, is Kemu, Abase Kemu, right? So what I want to read first is just the prologue. And if you've been following the conversations, this for you might be a repetition, in that by now you should be familiar with the flavor of what the truth of life, the truth of existence, what the Kemu, our people, before they were invaded, before they were colonized, what we wrote about the universe and what we observed, and the essence, the truth about life before it became ugly, right? Because it's not only just ugly for the continent and the descendants of the continent, even they've just destroyed the beauty of life. This individualistic, materialistic, money, and all sorts of stuff has just destroyed the beauty of existence, of life. Yes, I mean, like I keep on saying, gold is important. The kings and queens were ballers. Africans, as you know, Africans originally, even when people came to Ghana, they found us wearing jewelry, gold jewelry. So life is meant to be enjoyed. And spiritual wealth is meant to be enjoyed. It's not about going into some cave and hiding and thinking that you are holy by being in those caves, like how some spiritual systems try to portray life. No, life is meant to be enjoyed. Life is meant to procreate, have kids, and have people you love, and life is meant to be enjoyed, and you're meant to ball. If I can use the incorrect term, the pharaohs, the people of Kemu in the Nile Valley were ballers, all about balling. You can even see it in our regalia, in our clothes, and life is meant to be enjoyed. The art, you name it, right? Anyway, the prologue goes, understanding the Neteru and the fabled book of Tehuti. So, why we're saying fabled book of Tehuti? There was never a book of Tehuti. And here's the secret. The book of Tehuti is all of creation. That is the book of Tehuti. So, there is no book of Tehuti, physical book of Tehuti. It is all of creation. That is the book of Tehuti. Tehuti is the language of creation itself. So the book of Tehuti is all of creation. And here's the secret again. So what the sages would do, right? There's so many tricks that sages do to put people off, because wisdom is not about popularity. It's truth. Even in Kemu, not all the information was for everybody. For example, the power. I have touched on this before. The power was only reserved for the priests. Why was it reserved for the priests? Because they knew that if people got a hold of the power, they would abuse it. Juju, that's what I mean, spiritual power. Juju was not readily available like how it is available on the continent now. The reason why it's readily available on the continent and in the diaspora is because we were running away from the thugs that were trying to destroy us. So as we were running away, obviously our information got lost and information rather fell into the wrong hands. And what you'll find here survives more, especially in the southern parts of Africa, is the juju, not the wisdom. Only 1 or 2, 3 of people have the wisdom. It's the juju that's readily available. Go on social media. All you'll see is the juju, juju, juju. Everyone is becoming a sangoma. Everyone and their grandmother and their dog are becoming a sangoma, right? And that is what is readily available. Now, in terms of protecting the wisdom or the spiritual power, what the sages would do is they would say something vulgar, like in the beginning of a book or in the beginning of a story, they'll say something vulgar. And by saying something vulgar, and then it would put off some people, right? And then only the ones that are meant to get the message would stay with that message. So it would be like more like something that does not, something that's not logical, or sometimes it's like a vent or something, because the first part is meant to get rid of the people that it's not meant for. And then the juicy part, the people who stay with the book or with the story, then they would get the juicy part. They would get the wisdom. So that's how sages, priests of the Nile in Kemu, Ethiopia, not Ethiopia as it is now, after Frumentius brought Christianity to Ethiopia. I'm talking about ancient Kush, right? The original Ethiopia. So those priests, that's when they were teaching authentic spirituality, not the fake stories. That's what they would do, right? So that's the one trick that sages would do. So let's use something vulgar. They'd use so many tricks to make sure that message, that wisdom gets to the people that it's meant to get to, right? Now, what they then did was to confuse the enemy. They lied and they said that, no, there's a book of Tehuti. And in order to confuse the enemy, then the enemy started going around Kemet and whatever, Ikemu, looking for the book of Tehuti, just to keep them busy, right? But they never found it. And the reason why they never found it is because the book of Tehuti is all of creation. Tehuti is the Meduneta meaning divine words. When people talk about the word of God, this is where the concept was stolen from. It was stolen from Meduneta, Tehuti, right? Moses and all of those fake characters. Essentially, this is where this character was stolen from Tehuti. And this little book and that is why this book is called the Little Book of Tehuti, because what we're trying to teach is that this is a microcosm of who Tehuti is. Actually, not even a microcosm. Yes, the English word is microcosm, but this is more like a nanocosm of who Tehuti is, because you can never completely cover Tehuti. You can never completely cover the whole of creation. And in the little book of Tehuti, it also speaks about the purpose of creation, of which we've covered in some of the conversations. So for the people who've stayed with the conversations and were able to unmask, stayed and passed over the vent and passed over the sections where it's about, putting people off so that the real people can stay with and get the juice. You will not learn something new from the little book of Tehuti because it's covered in the conversations. Maybe you'll learn something new from, the 24 principles, but even those 24 principles are principles that you probably have heard. And also the daily devotion in terms of Tehuti. So I'd say most of the stuff, maybe 50% of the stuff you will know from the little book of Tehuti, right? Anyway, let me read the prologue. And if you want to see the cover, you can see the cover from, I think the cover is cool. I think the cover is beautiful. If we're allowed to say so. So check it out on just Google it and you'll see the cover. Anyway, let me read. Understanding the Hetepu and the fabled book of Tehuti. 1. Understanding the Hetepu forces of nature in Kemu, which is ancient Egypt. In the ancient civilization of Kemu, the Hetepu were central to the understanding and engaging with the universe. Modern interpretations often misinterpret the Hetepu as gods and goddesses, akin to those in Greek or Roman mythology. However, this is a grave mistake and gross misrepresentation. Unlike Western deities, the Hetepu are not anthropomorphic beings, but personifications of fundamental forces of nature. They are categories that represent the underlying energies that shape and govern the universe. The Hetepu as forces of nature. The ancient Egyptians, Abasekemu, perceived, and when I say Abasekemu, this is the Zulu word that we gave, that we used to refer to Kemu, right? So it's Abasekemu. Perceived the universe as a dynamic interplay of energies and natural forces, which they classified into different categories called Neteru, plural of Neter. These categories encapsulate the various aspects of reality, from the physical and tangible to the metaphysical and spiritual. The Neteru are the fundamental principles that underlie all existence, governing the natural world and human experience. Classification of energy. Much like the modern periodic table categorizes elements based on their properties, Abasekemu devised a system to categorize different types of energy or force. Each neter represents a distinct category within this sophisticated system, encompassing a wide range of phenomena and entities. Under these categories dwelt various aspects of reality. The first one being foods and drinks. Certain foods and drinks held special significance, often associated with specific Neteru based on their qualities. For example, grains symbolize fertility and abundance. These were linked to Oset. Another category, minerals and stones. Precious gems like lapis lazuli and amethyst were linked to Tehuti. Gold and copper are associated with Heru and Heteru, respectively. Numbers. Numbers were aligned with different Neteru as well, reflecting their intrinsic order of the universe. For example, Tehuti's number is 8. So when you see 8, when you come across 8, that is Tehuti. Talents and skills, artistic abilities, craftsmanship, and intellectual pursuits were viewed as expressions of a particular neter. For instance, singing, designing, and painting are heteru. So somebody who's artistic, who sings, who designs, who paints, and their talent, they are possessed by heteru. Writers, authors, they are possessed by heteru. Careers and subjects, that's another category. Various professions and fields of study were associated with the guiding force of certain Neteru as well. Sages are said to be under the influence of Tehuti. People who are sages are possessed by Tehuti. Wisdom, Tehuti. Animals and plants. Animals and plants were not merely living beings, but were considered expressions of the Neteru's energy as well. Tehuti in this case is associated with the sacred ibis bird. That bird that makes a lot of noise here on the continent is Tehuti. That loudmouth noise that wakes us up is Tehuti. Personalities as well. So human characteristics and temperaments were categorized under different Neteru, providing a framework for understanding individual behavior. A nurturing, compassionate, and devoted individual carries the essence of Oset. So people who are empathetic, who are compassionate, they embody Oset. Events as well and phenomena, natural events and natural occurrences are also recognized as manifestations of Neteru. Each Neter contributed to the harmonious functioning of the world. Storms, conflicts, and wars, these are expressions of Set. Set, who is the usurper of the throne of Kemu. So, for example, the Greeks then called, because the Greeks stole this system as well. So then they, typhoon, Set becomes typhoon, right? And hence the word typhoon, storms, and all of that stuff. So typhoon is it's copied from Set. And when it comes to the Greeks, I don't really, well, some of them, right? Because, they do say that they learned from the Kemu, right? Abase Kemu. So for them, we can give them a pass when it comes to that. It's these others, right, that then create fake stories, and then they don't admit that all of those characters, 100%, all of those characters are fake, and they are stolen. The Greeks copied, but these cats, the ones after that, the Romans, they stole. And the ones that are not meant to be mentioned, because otherwise they cancel everything, right, in your life. Those stole, right? The ancient Egyptians, the Kemu stuff, right, and created those fake characters. Anyway, planets. Celestial bodies were also linked to the Neteru, their movements and positions influencing earthly affairs. Tehuti is related to the planet, to Jupiter. Days of the week, each day of the week is associated with a specific Neter as well. And Tehuti's day is Thursday. Now, activation through invocation. Abase Kemu knew that invoking the name of an Neter would activate its essence. So, now what does that mean? It means that if you call out a Neter, that in a particular way, in a particular setting, let's say you have all the categories, you have them, and when you have all the categories in one place, call it a shrine, right? Then you have the concentration of the energy or vibration. I don't like using those words because then it sounds like pseudoscience. But let's say you have the concentration, the energy, because then it sounds like New Age spirituality. African spirituality is not New Age. It's ancient. It's the oldest of everything, right? So let's go back to... So when you have all the energies in one place, that means the concentration of that particular Neter is in that place, right? Now, invoking the name of the Neter with all of these articles concentrates the energy of that particular Neter. This practice was not about worshipping in the Western sense, because worship is a Western understanding of life. It's not real. There's no worship, We never worshipped anything. But it's about connecting with and harnessing the specific energy of that natural force represented by that particular neter. Calling upon the name of the neter allows individuals to align themselves or resonate with its attributes. So certain oils, for example, as well, almond, and rubbing that, it increases your resonance with that particular neter. Veneration and respect for nature. The Neteru were not worshipped as gods, but were venerated for their presence and influence. This veneration extended to the natural world, as the Neteru were seen as the underlying principles of nature. Treating the Neteru with respect translated into a profound respect for nature itself. Abasekemu recognized that through venerating the Neteru, they were in harmony with the natural order. This profound perspective nurtured a deep-seated reverence for the environment and all living things. It is noteworthy that the word nature itself is derived from the Kemu term for the Neteru, highlighting the intrinsic connection between these forces and the natural world. And once again, one of the reasons why I keep saying and I keep emphasizing this point is that because of the respect and reverence for the Neteru, that is why this way of life does not pollute or destroy nature. Because to pollute or violate nature is to violate the Neteru themselves. That's how it would be seen. The personification of the Neteru in daily life. In daily life, Abasekemu personified the forces of nature and thus sought the guidance and support of the Neteru in various activities. They built shrines, temples, performed rituals, and made offerings to resonate with these powerful natural forces. The strategy of personification, these natural forces, enabled Abasekemu to perceive them as helpful guides, aiding humanity in navigating the complexities of life. Ra, the supreme neter, symbolized as the sun. Ra holds a supreme position among the Neteru, personifying energy and light, with the sun as his primary symbol or logo, the most potent force in nature. His other glyph is the mouth, representing him as sound and the creative power of the spoken word. He stands as the central figure among all Neteru, symbolizing creation, light, sound, and vitality. The sun's daily journey across the sky mirrors the cycle of existence, birth, death, and rebirth, highlighting life's eternal nature. In his various forms, Ra encompasses all that exists in the universe. In the Kemic creation story, Book of Knowing the Transformations of Ra, Ra is the origin of all Neteru, reflecting the truth that one being exists from which everything seen and unseen manifests uniquely. Depicted as the father of the Neteru in spiritual narratives, Ra is revered as the source and creator of all existence, a powerful and creative force in the universe. Ra was the nexus of Kemu civilization. His influence permeated every aspect of existence, from the warmth that nurtured life to the light that illuminated the world. As it sustained all living beings, energy was regarded as conscious and living. For the Kemu, Ra symbolized more than just physical sustenance. He represented clarity, vision, and spiritual enlightenment. The sun's daily journey across the sky mirrored the human experience, with daylight symbolizing the physical world and nighttime representing the spiritual realm, the dream world, or Duat. Each day, Nut, often depicted as a woman arched over the earth, Geb, swallows Ra at night. At dawn, she gives birth to him, Anu, illustrating the sun and consciousness's daily cycle. In some versions, Nut takes the form of a cow to carry Ra on her back as he travels across the sky. Nut, the Neter, personifies the mental realm. In this context, the sun symbolizes human consciousness, reflecting our states of wakefulness and sleep. To honor these cosmic cycles and express reverence for the hidden creator, the Kemu performed elaborate rituals at dawn, mid-morning, noon, afternoon, dusk, and night. The sun, as Ra's logo, was not only depicted as a powerful symbol of supreme authority, but also as a primary tool for marking the passage of time and aligning the human experience with the rhythms of the universe. To summarize, the Neteru of Kemu as forces of nature represent a sophisticated system for understanding the universe as a series of interconnected energies or natural forces. Far from being mere deities or gods, they are the fundamental categories of existence, influencing all aspects of life. Acknowledging and venerating these natural forces, Abasekemu cultivated a harmonious relationship with the world around them, demonstrating profound wisdom that vibrates through the ages. 2. The fabled Book of Tehuti. In the archives of ancient African lore, among the whispers of mystics and the hallowed halls of wisdom, there exists a legend of a book whispered to contain the very secrets of the universe. This book is none other than the fabled Book of Tehuti, attributed to the ancient force of nature called Tehuti, revered for his profound knowledge, spiritual power, and infinite wisdom. Yet, despite countless searches by scholars and mystics alike, no trace of this fabled manuscript has ever been found. The Book of Tehuti remains a myth, a whisper of what could have been. Now, taking a pause, we did not include this part in the book. It's not included. But as I've said, I mean, it's fakery. It was meant to confuse the enemy. There is no Book of Tehuti. They'll never find it. That's why they've come up with fake emerald tablets, fake other books, fake Hemistrisgistus, fake, you name it, fake Moses, fake all of these things, right? But there is no Book of Tehuti. As I've said, Tehuti is the language of creation itself. So if you'd have to write, if there was one, you'd have to write everything that exists in the universe. You'd have to write it in a book. Everything. And truth, not fake, dispirited knowledge that we learn from school, where we learn knowledge with no spirit in it. Right? So that's what the book would be, but it doesn't exist. I mean, the sages did this to confuse the enemy. Anyway, going back to reading the little book of Tehuti. Tehuti is not a god or goddess, but a force of nature representing the great infinite intelligence that permeates all of creation and non-creation. Often depicted as a scribe and a mediator between the Neteru and mortals, he is the original Lord of words of nature, the very language of creation. I've already touched on this, that he is the Word of God. When Christians talk about the Word of God and all of that stuff, there is no Word of God. It's Medu nature, and Medu nature is Tehuti, and I've said that Tehuti is everything. It's the intelligence that is encapsulated in creation, all of creation, and non-creation, right? Non-creation is the source, and then creation is Ra, and Tehuti encompasses creation and non-creation. So when people speak about these funny phrases that they do not understand, this is where some of these concepts are taken from. So often depicted as a scribe and a mediator between Hetepu and mortals, he is the original Lord of words of nature, and we call it in the ancient language, it's Neb Medu nature, Medu Neter, I beg your pardon, the very language of creation. So the language of creation is hieroglyphics. So that is why it's advisable to learn it as much as you can, even if you don't have to be fluent in it, but so that you can at least understand it and understand what it means and understand, so that nobody can ever fool you. You don't need to go through a sage. The sage will guide you in terms of giving you the code, so to speak. But you must drink these things for yourself, right? And hopefully the little book of Tehuti will allow you to be able to connect with Tehuti, and Tehuti will guide you in terms of your personal journey, your personal victories, your personal challenges, and Tehuti can guide you in terms of what you need in order to be able to overcome those things, right? With his shrine and being able to commune with Tehuti, then you can get a personalized and customized initiation journey of your life path per se, right? Sages, books, all of these things are just guideposts. Stop here, drink here, walk here, do not walk there. That's a lie. This is the truth. But ultimately, this African spirituality is a personal journey between you and Neter. There is no mediator. There is no middleman, middlewoman, middleman. None of that exists. The priests of the Nile, the priests that we had in our temples, those are guideposts. But ultimately, the journey of becoming Heru, you have to walk it. You have to connect directly to the source. The days of middlemen are gone. Well, yeah, the past 2,500 years. We need to go back to how it was before, where the sages and the priests are guideposts, right? But you have to drink. To know, this is the adage, to know truth, to know Ma'at, you have to leave her. To know Ma'at, you have to leave her. Anyway, his wisdom transcends back to Tehuti. Tehuti represents, and reading the book, Tehuti represents the tongue of the Supreme, the essence of intuition, and the conduit of universal truth. His wisdom transcends the boundaries of time and space, offering insights that vibrate deeply with the human experience across cultures and eras. As the heart and tongue of Ra, the creator force, Tehuti's role is central in orchestrating the universe. He is the great oracle and judge of the two fighters, reconciling conflicts and restoring clarity. And I'm going to pause here, right, and stop reading, just to emphasize why it is our understanding that Tehuti is the way out of all the Neteru to connect with. Because him being the oracle, it means it cuts out any middleman. You're getting messages directly from Tehuti, from the source, from the infinite intelligence that knows everything about you, right? As the great oracle. Going back to reading. His ability to heal the eye of Heru, remember the master story and why I said that it's important to know the master story so that you can relate. That is why in the beginning of all of our conversations, it's always been about the master story. Ad infinitum, ad nauseum, I've been speaking about the master story, relating to the master story. It is because once you understand the master story, then you'll be able to understand and relate to all the other Neteru, right? Anyway, his ability to heal the eye of Heru and offer ma'at to the Neteru underscores his mastery in maintaining cosmic balance. Tehuti's association with the moon highlights his dominion over timing and his role in revealing the subconscious, guiding introspection and self-awareness. Tehuti's wisdom offers protection and harmony, leading those who follow his guidance to a life of fulfillment and supreme potential. His understanding, and what I mean by leading those who follow his guidance to a life of fulfillment and supreme potential, Tehuti will help you actualize. It's in our master story. Tehuti, once Osset has raised baby Heru, Tehuti is the one who leads Heru to victory. And that is why that thing that's on the dollar note, is so important. The eye of Heru comes, it's actually the eye of Tehuti. Tehuti is the one who heals the eye and gives Heru, you who's listening here, is Tehuti will be the one who will heal your eye and give it back to you, because you are injured. Your eye is injured through all the experiences that you've had and the lies that you've been taught, right? That's truth. Tehuti will heal it and give you the eye, and you'll be able to see the truth for yourself, right? So Tehuti's wisdom offers protection and harmony. Here, what it means is that offers protection, because when you have the truth, then you know not to mess with BS. You're like, this is BS. People in your life, people, things, and events that come into your life, you'll know that this is BS, so I must not even waste time with this. Like, see no evil, hear no evil. What's the Chinese thing? See, hear, speak. Yeah, see no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil. You will know that I do not partake in this thing, right? I do not watch these certain movies, these holy weird stuff, because it will pollute your mind. Or these people, do not surround yourself with certain people or whatever, certain things, because it's just wasting your life. So that is how wisdom protects you, right? It's not like there'll be a shield that comes. No. By having the eye of Heru and having Tehuti's wisdom, you will know where to go or where not to go. That's a protection. And then it says, Tehuti's wisdom offers protection and harmony. Harmony, when you have ma'at in your life, when you have truth in your life, you're able to harmonize. Remember, in our master story, we say that he's the one that puts peace between Set and Heru. Essentially, what the sages are saying here is that Tehuti is a great mediator, and it's spoken about in this book, and you'll understand it very well. So whenever there are conflicts, because life is about conflicts, in order for creation to happen, remember, there needs to be two forces, right? The opposing and there needs to be, in order to become, you need to overcome, right? In order for there to be motion, and energy is in motion, there needs to be friction. So with that, having Tehuti's wisdom, he's able to harmonize that. You're able to harmonize conflicts, because life is full of conflicts. So you're able to harmonize it. That means to find the middle ground, to find the right solution in every given situation. And then it says, continuing reading now, his understanding of the two lands that dwelt on earth and his recording of the universe's secrets for eternity positions him as the ultimate guardian of profound truths. Right. Here, in the ancient language, Tehuti's other word is name, right? Is Tehuti Om Tawi, which means Tehuti, understanding of the two lands. It is through Tehuti's final judgment that one is declared a neter on earth, achieving enlightenment and unity with the Supreme. What it says, what we're saying here is that only Tehuti can judge you, right? And it is through him, that is why we have that scene where you see scales and you see the feather of Ma'at, and your heart is weighed against the feather of Ma'at. When we were in Kemu, in the Nile Valley, it is Tehuti recording. He is the one that can say, you, listener, your deeds, thoughts and words are Makeru, which means true voice, and therefore you are a neter. Because becoming Heru is essentially becoming a neter. And Imhotep became a neter. That is why the foreigners worshipped him without understanding that Africans do not worship Herus. Yes, we respect them, but these are our geniuses. Right, we don't worship them, but then the foreigners worshipped him as Asclepius and all sorts of other names. Anyway, it is within this realm of mystery and reverence that the little book of Tehuti finds its purpose. Drawing from the rich heritage of Tehuti, this book seeks to illuminate the principles and philosophies that align with his teachings. As you journey through these pages, you will discover a blend of ancient wisdom and modern insights. The little book of Tehuti aims to be a guiding light for those who seek harmony with the universe, deeper truths of existence, and the wisdom path walked by Abasekemu. Welcome to a journey beyond the confines of time into the heart and mind of a legendary neter. Here, the echoes of Tehuti's wisdom come alive, offering guidance and enlightenment for the seekers of today. I hope you enjoy this little book. Hetepu.
Hey, just breathe.